In the grand halls of the Galactic Empire, towering figures gathered around a massive holographic map of the galaxy. Lights flickered on distant planets, each one marked with the Empire's symbol, a reminder of their conquests. Yet, in one small corner of the galaxy, a planet remained untouched by their might. A tiny blue dot, Earth. Commander Vallis stood at the head of the table, his sharp eyes focused on the map. He was one of the most feared military leaders in the galaxy, known for crushing rebellions and conquering worlds with ease. But this time, his attention was drawn to a new target, a planet he considered beneath the Empire's notice until now. Earth, Vallis said, his voice cold and commanding. A primitive world, rich in resources, yet completely unprotected by the standards of the galaxy. It's time we brought them into the fold. Some of the advisors at the table exchanged glances. Earth, they knew, was not like other planets. It was isolated, with no known allies in the galaxy, and its technology was far behind the Empire's. Still, there was something about Earth that made a few of them uneasy. It had a reputation for being unpredictable. One advisor, a veteran strategist named Kale, raised a cautious hand. Commander Vallis, Earth may be a small planet, but their history is strange. They have faced many challenges, wars, natural disasters, and even their own self-destruction. Yet they always find a way to survive. They are resilient. Vallis smirked, dismissing the concern with a wave of his hand. Resilience is no match for the Empire's power. They have nothing that can stop us. Their technology is primitive. Their defense is laughable. This will be an easy victory, and the resources we gain will fuel our next conquest. Kale hesitated, but he knew arguing with Vallis was pointless. The commander had already made up his mind. Still, something about Earth made Kale uncomfortable. There were rumors, whispers among the traders and explorers who had come across humans, that they were far more resourceful than they appeared. But to speak out against Vallis would only bring trouble. As the discussion continued, the Empire's plan began to take shape. They would launch a swift and overwhelming invasion, using their advanced warships to take control of Earth's major cities within hours. The humans would surrender quickly, and those who resisted would be crushed. It would be a simple operation, like so many before. But not everyone was so sure. In the shadows of the room, an older figure watched the proceedings silently. She was the Empire's intelligence officer, tasked with gathering information on potential threats. Her name was General Arca, and she had seen many things in her time with the Empire. Unlike Vallis, she did not underestimate her enemies, no matter how weak they seemed. Arca had studied Earth closely, and while she agreed that the humans were technologically behind, she had noticed something that the others had not. "Commander," Arca finally spoke, her voice calm and measured. "Before we proceed, I must advise caution. The humans are indeed primitive, but they are unpredictable. They have a way of turning their weaknesses into strengths. I recommend sending scouts first to gather more information. Rushing into this could be dangerous." Vallis turned toward her, his face tight with irritation. "General Arca, are you suggesting that the Empire, the most powerful force in the galaxy, should fear a backwater planet like Earth? You give them too much credit." Arca didn't flinch under his gaze. "I'm not suggesting fear, Commander. I'm suggesting preparation. We know very little about Earth. Their ability to adapt is well documented. They have survived disasters that would have destroyed other civilizations." Vallis scoffed. "They have survived by luck, not strength, and their luck has run out." The room fell silent. It was clear that Vallis had no intention of reconsidering his plan. The invasion of Earth would proceed, and any voices of caution would be ignored. The Empire had conquered countless worlds, and to Vallis, Earth was no different. But deep inside, some of the advisors couldn't shake the feeling that they were underestimating this small, blue planet. Earth was not like the others. Its people were known for their unpredictability, their creativity, and their stubborn refusal to give up, no matter the odds. Vallis, blinded by arrogance, saw only an easy target. As the meeting came to an end, Vallis issued his final orders. "Prepare the fleet. We launch in 3 days. By the end of the week, Earth will belong to the Empire." The advisors nodded and dispersed. but a sense of unease lingered in the air. Kale exchanged a glance with Arca before they left the room. He could see the same concern in her eyes. They both knew that Earth was no ordinary planet. Outside the Empire's chambers, the stars twinkled in the vastness of space, and Earth continued to spin in its quiet corner of the galaxy. Unaware of the looming threat, its people went about their daily lives. But soon, they would be forced to confront the greatest challenge they had ever faced, the full force of the Galactic Empire. And Earth's response would shock them all. The Galactic Empire's warships were ready, lined up in perfect formation, their engines humming with the power to destroy entire cities. Commander Valis stood at the front of his massive warship, gazing out at the stars, his eyes focused on the distant blue planet known as Earth. In his mind, it was just another conquest, one that would be over quickly. "Send the signal," Valis ordered. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Orcs, nodded and pressed a series of buttons on the control panel. The fleet began its slow approach toward Earth, confident in their superiority. Valis could already imagine the cheers from the Empire's citizens when they heard of his easy victory. But just as the fleet moved into position, something unexpected happened. A message from Earth flashed across their screens. It wasn't a formal surrender, nor a desperate plea for mercy. Instead, it was calm, almost too calm. The words were simple, but their meaning sent a shiver through the crew. "Turn back now. You don't understand what you're dealing with." Valis stared at the message, his eyes narrowing. For a moment, the entire control room fell silent. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. This wasn't the reaction they had expected from a small, defenseless planet. Earth was supposed to be afraid, begging for mercy, not sending cryptic warnings. Lieutenant Orcs cleared his throat, unsure of what to say. "Sir, should we respond?" Valis remained quiet for a few more seconds, then smirked. "Respond? To this nonsense? No, it's a bluff. Earth is trying to scare us, but they have nothing. Continue the approach." Still, there was a strange tension in the air, something the crew couldn't shake. Earth's message wasn't threatening, but it carried a quiet confidence that was unsettling. Even Orcs, who had seen many battles, felt a knot forming in his stomach. He had seen weak planets before, but Earth was acting different. As the fleet drew closer, the message repeated, this time in every language the Empire had ever encountered. It seemed as though Earth wanted to make sure their warning was heard loud and clear. "This is your last chance. Turn back. We will not warn you again." This time, the message wasn't ignored. Valis, irritated by the interruption, turned to his communications officer. "Put them through." The officer pressed a button, and the message from Earth appeared on the screen in front of Valis. It wasn't a live video feed, but a simple voice recording. The voice was calm, almost too calm for a planet facing an invasion. "We know you are coming. We know what you want. But you don't know what you're dealing with. Leave now, or face the consequences." Valis leaned forward, glaring at the screen. "Who do you think you are, threatening the Empire? We could destroy your planet in a single strike." The voice from Earth paused for a moment before responding. "We are not threatening you. We are warning you. There is a difference." Valis' face twisted with anger. He was not used to being spoken to this way, especially not by a planet as insignificant as Earth. His hand tightened into a fist, and for a moment, he considered ordering an immediate strike on Earth's cities just to prove his point. But something stopped him. Maybe it was the eerie calm in the voice, or maybe it was the way the message had been sent directly to his fleet's most secure channels. How had Earth managed to hack their systems? Lieutenant Orcs noticed the tension in the room. "Sir, perhaps we should investigate further. Earth seems to have more capabilities than we originally thought. They might be hiding something." Valis shot him a cold glare. "They're hiding nothing. This is just a desperate attempt to delay the inevitable." But Orcs wasn't so sure. He had seen powerful empires crumble because they underestimated their enemies. And Earth was acting too confident for a planet that was supposed to be weak. He glanced at the other officers, and he could tell they were thinking the same thing. As the fleet continued its approach, Valis made his decision. Send them a final message. Let them know their time is up. Oris nodded and prepared the message. Earth, you have made a grave mistake. The Galactic Empire does not negotiate with lesser beings. Your warning has been received and ignored. Prepare for your end. The message was sent, and Valis felt a surge of satisfaction. Earth's defiance would be crushed soon enough. But as they waited for a response, the control room remained eerily quiet. There was no panic, no desperate pleas for mercy, just silence. It was as though Earth was already prepared for what was coming. And then, suddenly, the lights flickered. For a brief moment, every screen in the warship went dark. The crew looked around in confusion. Valis clenched his jaw, anger boiling inside him. What is happening? Get the systems back online. Oris rushed to the control panel, trying to figure out what went wrong. Sir, I don't know what's happening, but it seems Earth is somehow interfering with our systems. Valis slammed his fist onto the table. Impossible. They don't have the technology for this. But as the screens slowly came back online, Valis could see something new on the radar. A strange energy field surrounding Earth flickered into view. It wasn't like anything they had seen before. The energy was pulsing, alive, and growing stronger with each passing second. Oris stared at the readings, his face pale. Sir, I think Earth has just activated some kind of defense system, one that we didn't detect before. Valis' eyes narrowed. What kind of defense system? Oris shook his head. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's not what we expected. Valis felt a cold chill run down his spine. For the first time, he wondered if Earth's warning had been more than just words. Maybe, just maybe, they had underestimated this planet. And now, the real battle was about to begin. Commander Valis stood on the bridge of his warship, watching the energy field around Earth with growing frustration. The planet's calm warnings had shaken some of the crew, but not him. He was determined to show this small, defiant world the true power of the Galactic Empire. Launch the first wave, Valis commanded, his voice cold and steady. Let Earth see what happens when they challenge us. At his order, dozens of sleek, powerful Empire ships shot forward, leaving trails of light as they sped toward Earth. Each ship was armed with the most advanced weapons in the galaxy: lasers, plasma cannons, and explosives capable of leveling entire cities. The plan was simple: hit Earth hard and fast, overwhelm them before they could react. As the ships approached, Earth remained quiet. There were no defenses in sight, no counterattacks. It seemed almost too easy. But just as the Empire's ships reached the edge of Earth's atmosphere, something unexpected happened. The energy field that had surrounded the planet pulsed, sending out a wave of energy that rippled through space. In an instant, the lead ship's systems went dark. Their engines died, their weapons shut down, and the pilots found themselves powerless. Sir, one of the communications officers called out in panic. We've lost contact with the first wave. Valis' eyes widened in disbelief. What? That's impossible. On the screen, he could see the ships frozen in place, drifting helplessly toward Earth. The rest of the fleet watched in stunned silence as the mighty Empire's first wave had been stopped cold, without a single shot fired from Earth. What kind of defense is this? Valis muttered under his breath, fury building inside him. He slammed his fist on the control panel. Launch the second wave. Full power. But even as the next wave of ships prepared to launch, the same strange energy pulsed from Earth's field, causing systems to flicker and fail. This time, it was stronger. Valis could feel the tension rising in the control room. Earth had a weapon they hadn't expected, one that seemed capable of disabling even the most advanced technology. Oris, standing beside Valis, looked at the screen with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Sir, they're not fighting us with weapons. They're using something else. We don't know how to stop it. Valis clenched his teeth. I don't care what it is. Find a way. I will not be defeated by a primitive world like Earth. But deep down, even Valis knew something was wrong. Earth wasn't supposed to have this kind of power. The Empire had expected an easy victory, but now it seemed they were facing something far more dangerous than they had imagined. and the battle had only just begun. Commander Valis paced the bridge of his warship, frustration boiling inside him. The Empire's powerful fleet had been stopped cold, their technology disabled by Earth's mysterious energy field. It made no sense. How could a planet like Earth, so backward, so primitive, cripple the most advanced warships in the galaxy? "We're missing something," Valis muttered, staring at the flickering screens. "This isn't just defense. Earth is planning something." Lieutenant Orcs, standing by his side, shared his concern. "Sir, what if this was their plan all along? To lure us in, make us think they were weak." Valis clenched his jaw. "Impossible. They can't possibly know our tactics." But deep down, he feared Orcs might be right. Earth hadn't just stopped their attack. It had done so effortlessly, almost as if they'd been waiting for it. And now, the Empire's fleet was vulnerable, floating in space without power. They were sitting ducks. As Valis debated his next move, a new signal flashed on the main screen. It wasn't a warning this time. It was an invitation. "Come closer, if you dare. Enter Earth's atmosphere. We are waiting." The crew went silent, the tension thick in the air. Valis stared at the message, his mind racing. This was no bluff. Earth wanted them to come closer, to step into what was clearly a trap. But Valis was a proud commander of the Galactic Empire. He couldn't let a planet like Earth embarrass him. "Prepare the landing teams," he ordered, his voice low but firm. "We'll take the fight to the surface." Orcs hesitated. "Sir, if they disabled our ships this easily, what could they have waiting for us down there?" Valis turned sharply to face him, eyes blazing. "We're not afraid of Earth. We'll crush whatever defenses they have on the ground." Reluctantly, the crew followed his orders. Small landing craft were prepared, packed with heavily armed soldiers. The plan was to launch an invasion directly onto Earth's surface. Valis hoped that whatever strange energy field had disabled their ships wouldn't affect the smaller craft. As the landing teams descended toward Earth, everything seemed calm at first. The energy field allowed them through, as if welcoming them. But just as the ships entered the lower atmosphere, alarms blared. "Sir," one of the officers shouted, "our sensors are picking up something below us. It's massive." Suddenly, the sky lit up with flashes of light. Earth wasn't defenseless after all. Hidden deep within the planet's surface were advanced missile systems, camouflaged by the same energy field that had fooled the Empire. As the landing craft flew over what looked like empty land, the missiles locked onto them. Explosions erupted in the sky. One by one, the Empire's landing craft were hit, torn apart by Earth's surprise attack. The deadly trap had been set, and now the invaders were paying the price. Valis watched in horror as his forces were decimated. Earth wasn't just defending itself, it had outsmarted the entire Empire. And they had fallen right into the trap. Commander Valis stood frozen, watching in disbelief as the landing crafts exploded one by one in Earth's atmosphere. The trap had been set perfectly. The Empire's elite soldiers, the ones he had counted on to break Earth's resistance, were gone in a matter of seconds. "How is this possible?" Valis growled, slamming his fist on the console. "Earth is supposed to be primitive." Lieutenant Orcs, standing nearby, was just as shocked. "Their technology. It's far more advanced than we thought, sir. We underestimated them." Valis turned to Orcs, his face flushed with rage. "Underestimated them? We are the Galactic Empire. We do not lose to insignificant worlds." But the truth was clear. Earth wasn't just defending itself. It was fighting back with precision and intelligence. The Empire's fleet was paralyzed, their soldiers destroyed, and now their only options were quickly running out. "Sir," one of the officers called out, "we've detected more missile systems hidden across the planet. They're targeting our remaining ships." Valis' heart pounded in his chest. Earth was playing a dangerous game, and the Empire was losing. He couldn't afford more losses. If he returned to the Empire with this failure, his career, and his life, might be over. "Pull the remaining ships back," Valis barked, his voice tinged with frustration. "We'll regroup and strike again, but this time we need a new plan." As the fleet began pulling away from Earth's orbit, Valis paced the bridge, his mind racing. They needed to find a way to disable Earth's mysterious energy field. Without it, their ships would be able to rain destruction on the planet from a safe distance. But how could they do that if they didn't understand how the field worked? Oris, sensing the growing desperation in his commander, spoke cautiously. "Sir, perhaps it's time we consider other options." Valis turned to him sharply. "What are you suggesting?" Oris hesitated. "We could open negotiations. Perhaps Earth is willing to." "Negotiations? With them?" Valis cut him off, fury flashing in his eyes. "The Empire doesn't negotiate with lesser beings. We dominate, we conquer, and we destroy." But as much as Valis hated to admit it, the situation was dire. Earth had exposed a weakness in the Empire, one that couldn't be ignored. His crew was losing confidence, and if they didn't act soon, the Empire's grip on its other conquered worlds might start to crumble. "Commander," Oris said quietly, "Earth clearly knows something we don't. Their technology isn't just defense, it's strategy. Every move they've made has been to push us into this position. We need to understand how they're doing this, or we will lose everything." Valis clenched his fists, the weight of his failure crushing him. He couldn't retreat, but he couldn't press forward blindly anymore. They had to find out what Earth was hiding, and fast. "Prepare the scouts," Valis finally ordered. "Send them to find the source of that energy field. If we can't destroy Earth from the outside, we'll have to go deeper." The Empire's fleet hovered at a safe distance, far from Earth's reach. Commander Valis stood at the center of the bridge, his face set in a grim expression. The situation was slipping from his control. They had tried brute force, stealth, and even sacrifice, yet Earth remained untouchable. Now, as the scouts searched for the source of Earth's mysterious energy field, Valis felt the weight of impending failure. "Commander," Lieutenant Oris spoke cautiously, "we're receiving another message from Earth." Valis turned sharply. Another message? Every time Earth sent a communication, it only added to their humiliation. Yet he had no choice but to listen. The main screen flickered, and a calm, measured voice echoed through the room. "This is your final warning, Empire. You have seen only a fraction of what we are capable of. Leave now or face a threat far deadlier than anything you've imagined." Valis sneered at the words. "Empty threats. They think they can scare us." But Oris wasn't so sure. "Sir, they've stopped us at every turn. What if they aren't bluffing? What if they have more weapons? Something we haven't seen yet?" Valis clenched his jaw. He didn't want to believe it, but deep down, he knew Oris might be right. Earth had already proven itself unpredictable. Their energy field had crippled the Empire's ships, and their hidden defenses had decimated the landing crafts. What else could they be hiding? Before Valis could respond, the screen flickered again. This time, it wasn't a voice. It was an image. A massive structure deep within the planet's surface, pulsing with energy. It looked ancient, but the power it radiated was undeniable. It wasn't just a defense system. It was a weapon. "What is that?" Oris whispered, his eyes wide with fear. Valis stared at the image in silence. It was clear now that Earth had far more dangerous technology than they had ever imagined. The energy field protecting the planet wasn't the true threat. This weapon, whatever it was, had the potential to wipe out the entire fleet in an instant. "This is your last chance," the voice repeated. "Leave now, or we will activate the device. Your empire will fall." Valis' mind raced. He had come to Earth to conquer, to prove the strength of the Galactic Empire. But now the tables had turned. Earth had outmaneuvered them at every step, and this final warning felt far too real to ignore. Oris broke the tense silence. "Sir, we need to retreat. If they activate that weapon, we'll lose everything." Valis' fists tightened, his pride warring with logic. Every instinct told him to fight, to show Earth the true power of the Empire. But the image of that massive, pulsing structure lingered in his mind. It was a risk he couldn't afford. "Pull the fleet back," Valis ordered, his voice cold and quiet. For now. As the ship slowly moved away from Earth, the crew remained silent, each of them knowing the truth. Earth had won this round, but the war was far from over. The Galactic Empire's fleet was pulling back, engines humming softly as the enormous ships retreated from Earth's orbit. Commander Valis stood motionless, staring out of the main viewport. He had never imagined this day would come. The Empire, the most powerful force in the galaxy, was retreating from a tiny, seemingly insignificant planet. Valis clenched his fists, his pride still stinging. How did it come to this? He muttered under his breath. Lieutenant Orcs stood at his side, quietly relieved that they had survived. "Sir, Earth's technology. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. If we hadn't pulled back, that weapon could have wiped us out." Valis knew Orcs was right. That final message from Earth had been chilling, and the image of the mysterious underground structure still haunted him. It wasn't just a threat. It was real. Earth had weapons that could destroy the Empire's most advanced fleet in a single strike. Even now, as they retreated, Valis felt like they were only scratching the surface of Earth's true power. But despite their withdrawal, something gnawed at him. He couldn't shake the feeling that Earth was hiding even more secrets. What else was buried beneath that planet? How had such an isolated world developed defenses that rivaled the Empire's greatest achievements? "Earth may have won this battle," Valis said, his voice low, "but this isn't over. We'll return, and when we do, we'll be ready." Orcs, sensing his commander's frustration, replied cautiously, "Perhaps, sir, but for now, we need to learn more. If we're to face Earth again, we need to understand their technology, how they created that energy field, their hidden weapons, everything." Valis nodded slowly. "You're right. We can't rush back in blindly. We need time to study them, to figure out their weaknesses." As the Empire's fleet drifted farther from Earth, Valis couldn't help but feel a strange sense of respect for the planet. They had faced countless enemies across the galaxy, conquered countless worlds, but Earth had fought back in ways he hadn't expected. Suddenly, a new signal appeared on the bridge's communication console. It was from Earth. Another message. Valis growled, his teeth clenched. What do they want now? The crew quickly opened the transmission. The same calm voice that had delivered the earlier warning echoed through the ship's speakers once again. "To the Empire. You may have left, but we know you will return. And when you do, we will be ready once more. But know this, we are not your enemies. We seek no conquest, only peace. If you continue to challenge us, you will find only destruction. Leave us in peace, or face the consequences." The message ended as abruptly as it had started, leaving the crew in silence. Valis stood there, thinking about the words. They weren't enemies. They wanted peace. It didn't make sense. The Galactic Empire had never encountered such defiance before, let alone from a planet that claimed not to want war. "Peace," Valis muttered to himself, shaking his head. "Do they really believe that?" Orcs stepped forward. "Sir, maybe that's their real message. They didn't destroy us when they had the chance. Maybe they're not like the other worlds we've conquered." Valis felt conflicted. His instinct was to conquer, to dominate. But something about Earth was different. They had spared his fleet, shown restraint when they could have wiped them out. It wasn't the behavior of a planet desperate for survival. It was the behavior of a planet confident in its strength. "Perhaps," Valis murmured, deep in thought, "Earth is more than we thought." As the fleet continued to retreat into deep space, Valis made a decision. They would regroup, study Earth's defenses, and learn everything they could about its technology. But this time, they wouldn't just attack blindly. This time, they would prepare for the unexpected. But one thing was certain. Earth's mystery remained unsolved. And Valis knew that the next encounter would be even more dangerous. "Set course for the nearest Imperial outpost," Valis ordered. "We'll return when we're ready." The fleet disappeared into the vast darkness of space, leaving Earth untouched, for now.